So welcome to a special multidimensional healing Earthworker session where we're addressing a topic that is important for the community right now, and just kind of sensing into the group field. I wasn't quite sure to mention it because I don't, these sessions live well on past the day we're recording them, but today is Friday the 13th. And I think it's perfect for what I think the topic is going to be today. Friday the 13th implies, there's some uh, myths and symbolism to this date that, well, isn't always good. It's unlucky. I know people whose favorite number is 13, and that's reframing it. So I think it applies exactly to our topic today. So welcome to Friday 13th, everybody. And we've got, a lot of celebratory um, vibrations here, frequencies with the team of Source that is gathered to serve our intentions today. And, Trinity Essence is all about intention. And the intention is the question: what is it that's most needed right now for the public, for you who are listening, for you who are participating? What do we need now to really thrive and be um, more and it isn't better. We want to be more whole, more productive, more valued and valuable citizens within our own body, within the body collective. Because as more and more of us wake up and heal and become thriving, vital citizens, our healing heals the depth and the breadth of everything around us. And it's a kind of a slow trickle effect radiating outwards in the guise of our current environment. This is quick fix, quick fix. What do I need to do? Make a list. Here's the 10 favorite things. This isn't. This is like, let's dive in. Let's see what's down there. And so welcome. If you found this session, welcome. And you are being welcomed right back by a team of guides. Yep. So here's the Angel Jophiel. Angel Jophiel coming into your system on the count of 3, 2, 1. She comes in through the crown, settles into your heart and spine. She is the angel of illuminating beauty. I think you're going to find how important this is as we go along, because in illuminating beauty, what she aids your awareness during this session to show you what isn't. Because in order to start embodying beauty, we have to free ourselves of what isn't beautiful. And those are the old patterns, old beliefs, old thoughts, old habits that we get into from ancient programming to maybe environmental programming growing up to even our karmic history, what we may have done in past lives. And that's the deep stuff that we rarely see. And that's the nature of dimensional healing. Dimensional healing says, hey, we're going to look at all those factors. And it's pretty transformative when we do. So to start with the healing, we're going to physicalize it within our system by chanting the sound of Om 3 times. It brings in the vibration of the divine, and let's just see for yourself. So you take a first breath in and then elongate the sound of Om. You can do it out loud on your end, or you can just allow the energy to move in, around, and through you. Okay, ready? First breath in. Second breath in. And the third breath in. If you're sensitive, perhaps you've noticed a deepening of quiet within your system. And that is the purpose of physicalizing the sense of the divine in however you experience it, whether it's silence, quiet, stillness, or just a sense of peace and relaxation. And so we also start with something called universal grounding. Universal grounding that recognizes that we're in a time of convergence, right? Where Planets are in alignment. We've got solar flares. We've got the Earth waking up, and we've got a whole bunch of human consciousness really affecting. Got climate change, weather patterns really stirring things up, political stuff going on, and so there's a lot bombarding our ability to be centered within ourselves because we ground with the Earth, whether you know it or not. We really vibrate with the what's called the Schumann resonance, or the heartbeat of the Earth. That's why maybe perhaps we like spending time in nature. And so the Schumann resonance right now is kind of all over the place. It's fluctuating because of what's going on, planets from the sun, from human consciousness. So universal grounding says, okay, I gotcha. Let's see if we can help you regulate, help you adapt, help you align. What do you need? Because it's an ongoing thing. This isn't something that happened happen overnight. It's an ongoing process, and there's no quick fixes. It's a constant adjustment, especially with our density of our physical bodies becoming more enlightened or lightening up to be more free frequency, holding vibration, and universal grounding helps with that too, in an attunement or alignment. So we'll see what we get this time. Putting your awareness and focus in the lower half, right at the root chakra. Clearing out the root chakra for some of you. Well, there's some anger in there. And I would imagine your root chakra, your chakras are energy centers that tend to reflect what's going on in your life, in the world around you. And of course, there's a lot of angry energy arising. If you spend any time online or you're even up to date on current events, there's a lot of divisive hatred right now, pitting people against each other, especially in the spiritual community. A lot of righteousness. There we go. Beautiful. So I'm going to put structures in your root chakra that help you self-clear. They act like a vacuum to pull out any divisive energy or any polluted energy or toxic energy. There we go. That may or may not be contributing to your ability to regulate, center, or adapt. There we go. And that took a little bit of integrating for some of you, but I think you'll notice that as you go about your day-to-day activities, that there isn't so much, there's more flow. Let me just put it this way, like stop and go, there's more flow. And so let's try it out. So inviting you to descend through your grounding cord into, there we go, the very center of the earth. Effortless now with the updated, upgraded grounding cord. Even if you already had one, this made these self-cleansing crystals way more efficient, because if you haven't noticed, energy is really ramped up lately. There's maybe some astrological events coming up pointing to something maybe big. There's definitely a lot of cultural and societal stuff that is ramping up that may be indicative of something. And our nervous system knows that. And at the center of the earth, we're going to ask, what is it that this body most needs right now to help with this special session? Okay, so we're bringing in a sense of vitality. Where I believe we're working on is resolving the issue of functional freeze, and I'll describe what that is in a minute. But functional freeze uh, is a basic lack of energy or a lack of access to energy because of mixed messages that the body is getting and receiving. So Earth says, I'll help you. We're going to create a quick um, framework and then bring down light codes to increase your ability to hold vitality. And the Earth says, is asking you to remember, you're not alone. Your body isn't separate. The point of Trinity essence is really just that. It is the body's or the magical way we respond to the world around us. And if you have a lot of trauma or victimhood in your history or in your current life, and most of us do, Dr. Peter Levine, Gabor Mate, Thomas Hubel, a lot of the um, wisdom keepers, way shores, a lot of the experts say that trauma, unresolved trauma, unhealed trauma, is one of the world's biggest problems right now. And in the eyes of multidimensional healing, it's definitely a factor. Why? Because most people don't realize that you have much deeper, much deeper trauma that's connected in hidden areas that they just don't know about, and they're reacting to it subconsciously. There we go. Beautiful. So the earth was just preparing. We're connected to the core of the earth, and the earth was just preparing your system to receive this. And it's universal vitality. I don't know what that quite means yet. I think it means a more expanded version of what the physical body may be familiar with, you know. So let's find out. So the first thing we're going to do is put in structures. There we go. We need structures because our physical or our energetic body is really complex. We're connected to everything and everyone, and imagine how complex and vast that has to be if we're like little dots of this fabric of life, and this fabric of life in this world is connected to a bigger universal world. And so the mechanics of that, the configuration of that has got to be quite complex, and it's outside our ability of this 3D mind to really comprehend. So structures follow intention. Trinity is manifesting intention, and it says, what do you need to know to help connect your physical body to remember its oneness with the earth, to remember its oneness with the universe? That's the purpose of Trinity, those three things. Bring them together, remember. And the structures say, okay, we're going to follow this intention and we're going to help it find these specific areas. So structures are really important to build a framework of universal vitality. Again, not quite sure how that's going to play out. There we go. Now bringing it into the physical body, and it's going to go into the cells, the fascia. We're learning more and more about how the fascia is this network of electromagnetic dimensional information. The more you move, the more it enlivens. Oh, that's what it's doing. So it's into the cells, but more importantly, it's enlivening the fascia. Interesting. So when you're in functional freeze, you don't want to move. And so your fascia becomes stagnant. And the fascia, on a universal sense, is an electromagnetic impulses of dimensional intelligence. Well, that's all I'm going to say about that. There's a universal purpose behind the physiology purpose. Am I saying that right? You know what I mean. And also the nervous system. It's going to go into the nervous system up and vagus nerve. So it's really rebuilding, reframing the nervous system and vagus nerve and fascia and brain and cells to remember their original programming. Beautiful. Now into the legs, knees, and thighs, stopping at the pelvis. Flowing into the organs in your midsection, your genitals, your bladder, your colon, your lower intestines, the stomach, kidneys, adrenals, liver, pancreas, gallbladder, spleen. Flowing up your spine, again following the vagus nerve into, ooh, interesting, the lymphatics. Yeah, most definitely lymphatics, because lymphatics can stagnate. This is a beautiful enlivening framework. That's why we're starting with it. With earth magic mixed with cosmic light code downloads, activations. We're going to get that in a second. Now into the rib cage, following up to the back of the heart, the lungs, front of the heart, ooh, sternum. Beautiful. Up into the spiritual heart. Really focusing on the spiritual heart here. Spiritual heart is considered right where your thymus is, and it is a door, to your higher intelligence. Coming into your back of your shoulders, shoulder blades, down your arms, elbows, forearms, hands, palms, and back up into your neck, thyroid. Again, following your vagus nerve, curling around your ears, into the brainstem, brain, all your neural pathways, the neuroplasticity, the synapses, the HPA access, which will become important for the nervous system as we go forward, the entire skull, cranial sacral. So this is both a physical energy system upgrade as well as a metaphysical. And the metaphysical aspect is the light code activation. So we're going to stretch from the top of your crown all the way up into space, past the moon, past the sun, into the next galaxy, the next galaxy, the next galaxy, into the sun, sun, sun. We're gathering this beautiful clear light. It's pure energy that hasn't really lived commonly on the earth in many, many, many years. And it's filtering down as light codes. These light codes are going to activate the framework that we just built. Consider them the circuitry, the engines, the little seeds of growth that spark life into the intention that we just built. It's a twofold process. It's actually a threefold. We're going to integrate it in just a second. So it's like the spark that enlivens the vitality. Again, this is universal vitality that helps your system remember and bridge past and transform this stuckness, this functional freeze on a physical level, on a metaphysical level. So it's coming into the crown, the brain synapses, the pathways, filtering down into the brain stem and again, following the vagus nerve and the nervous system into the throat, thyroid, shoulders, down each of the arms, into the hands, palms. Ooh, with this high frequency light. It's like liquid light programming the intention into your cells, into your physicality. Now into the upper chest, in the thymus and the higher heart, spiritual heart. There we go. Down into the lungs, physical heart, breasts, sternum, rib cage, and again following the spine and vagus nerve into the core, all your organs. Beautiful. The pelvic girdle, colon, coccyx, perineum, and again following the vagus nerve into the legs, knees, calves, feet. And we're going to take a moment to integrate because this was really quite a shift, helping your physical body be more universal, remembering its universal vitality, its universal energy. And so it's got a mixture of core earth frequencies of this awakening earth that our body is a part of, and cosmic energies that our body is remembering. So the integration is generally in the overall system in all of conscious, specifically in the physiology and the fascia, the cells, the brain, the nervous system, the vagus nerve. So we're going to let that integrate for a second. So this pattern, universal, they're showing me universal vitality is the bridge to for your body. So you might have an inkling, and you might have cosmic experiences of what this universal principles of oneness, of wholeness. But this is the body is a whole different thing. It has an intelligence. Um, it has a karmic past, an incarnational package. It has ancestral memories, epigenetics, and so the body holds trauma completely different from what your spiritual remembrance is. And so this is going into those body programmings and saying, Psst, remember, primordially, innately, you're a cosmic being. You're meant to be transformative. You're meant to be magical. You're meant um, to manifest instantly. But the body says, no, that's not who I am. And so this is the bridge into that remembrance. Isn't that beautiful? And why do we need that? Well, we're going to see in just a minute. Putting in integrating structures to help finish, especially going into the genetics. There we go. Beautiful. So now what Source is pointing at that we're going to transform is the issue of functional freeze. Now, what is functional freeze? Functional freeze is the body's shutdown. And it can be physical in the nervous system, it can be vagal in the vagus nerve, and be caused by all sorts of things. But basically, functional freeze is both a mental state, but it's also a physical state where you have emotional and mind issues that cause you to really just get stuck. You lack motivation to carry out daily stuff, right? Even simple tasks. And that's due to burnout, overwhelm, stress, lack of purpose. You may feel disconnected, numb. You may overeat. You may have a disconnect between what you're doing and what you really want to be doing. May affect your personal relationships. You don't feel good about yourself. But basically, there's a numbness, and it's due to unhealed stress, unhealed trauma. Now, look at what's happened to humanity over the past few years. We've had this global shutdown and pandemic and health scare where millions of people died. And recently, we also have a global political issue with genocide and threats of war. And here locally, we have a lot of hate and division, really pitting people against each other. And it is escalating right now. And this collective consciousness is all around us. So if we have unresolved, unhealed, hidden inner trauma, it can create quite a state where even though your mind says, I want to be centered and grounded and I want to do this, your body's starting to remember because the earth is awakening. And so it has both an emotional and mental mechanism, but there's a physical cause too. And it's really just a lack of energy. And that's why Source created that framework where you access and build more structure around vitality and this remembrance to bridge through any kind of helplessness or disconnect or overwhelm that may be triggered by life events, personal events. Maybe you're exhausted. Some of the things that could be signs of functional freeze, that numbness we talked about, certain kind of detachment, this fog in the brain, maybe, not being able to sleep, a lot of fatigue, difficulty concentrating, and that emotional triggering that we just talked about. It's basically withdrawal and saying, yeah, I don't want to people today and tomorrow and the next day and the next day. And again, causes all that trauma that's unhealed within you that maybe you're not even aware of. There we go. So Source was just laying down a lot of intention around it to heal the root cause. So our intention for transformation is heal the root causes, thank you, of functional freeze. Wherever it exists, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual. Beautiful. That's a lovely intention. So the first thing we're going to do, like remember, is lay down these structures, because structures pinpoint where this intention needs to go. I just put in all kinds of structures, and before I told you them, they would already be done. And the second part of that intention is to feel vital and alive and engaged. And empowered. Because all the things of functional freeze are its opposites. So we're going to do some general clearing now, remanifesting any emotional or mental issues attached to it. And there it is. There's bits and pieces of stress, pain, overwhelm. So we're just going to let Source we're in this vacuum of space, so all possibilities exist. It's 0 point energy of possibilities and potential. And we're being assisted by grace of the divine, great cosmic mother, master healers, Mother Earth, elementals, archangels. And we also have our past, present, and future lives there. Everything exists in dimensionality. So we're pointing at the root cause of functional freeze and asking to remanifest. And the first place is called the collective unconscious timeline. These are all the things that you're not aware of that exist. Timelines holding that conditioning, time streams, reality streams, choice points, all the different frameworks and structures that are dimensional in nature. And just like that, transformed, transmuted, transfigured, remanifested, demanifested for optimal health and healing, vitality, to return strength. Beautiful. So we're going to clear things you're probably more familiar with. Some of that numbness that we talked about, that disconnect, the fatigue, maybe the brain fog, the lack of motivation, and those are I call collective conscious conditioning, and they're how your body identifies or holds these patterns. Again, frameworks and supports. Wow. Some of you, your body is holding a lot of unprocessed rage and hate and anger. And who isn't? You wouldn't be human if you're not so angry at the dehumanization that's happening out in culture right now. You turn it off, right? That's the disconnect. That's your answer. Your coping mechanism is disconnect. Turn it off. So instead of really engaging and saying, stop, this is not right. Standing up for your fellow humans because you're human too. We're all interconnected. There is no black and white. There is no political divide. There is no you're more important than some other humans. That's all manufactured for an agenda. We know this in our hearts. And the disconnect is that hate that has hardened a lot of hearts. And so there's a lot of pain right now. There we go. We're going to go specifically into the genetics. Ooh, there's some righteousness in there, genetic righteousness of the ancestors that said I had to kill, I had to dehumanize because that's what we did to survive or in wars or protect my family, protect myself. There we go. There's a lot of righteous anger in the genetics, or righteous justification, or righteous trauma. It says, I deserve this because I'm on the other side. There we go. The structures and genetics that will continue to clear. Freeze response is the body's way of telling you it feels threatened, is unable to do anything about it, so it just shuts down. Science also calls it a dorsal vagal shutdown, and that's much deeper. It's a more extreme reaction that's triggered when the body completely is overwhelmed and unable to escape. And so this can be held in your genetics, it can be held in your karmic history, as a response to maybe war or violence or pandemics. Yeah. So Source is really optimizing this nervous system for this particular dysfunction. It's actually a dysregulation of the nervous system. It's characterized by shallow breathing, by again that lack of motivation, the drop in energy. It also affects your increased heart rate if you have high blood pressure, because it's really getting you ready to respond to threat, right? There we go. Affects your muscles. Have you all of a sudden gotten weak? You know, that's the body just collapsing. Says, I'm going to play dead. No one will see me. And the numbness, that disconnect, not wanting to engage. That's the effect. There we go. Really going into what the nervous system most needs. Whether it's strengthening, building up energy, harmonizing because it's overwhelmed, in regards to its functional freeze, in the sense of everything related to it. That really dulled, overwhelmed fight or flight response is controlled by the sympathetic branch of the nervous system, where the autonomic is what helps you relax. So we're going to go into the biochemistry, the adrenal cortisol, and really optimize. Again, putting structures in here to help. Going into the brain and the HPA axis, which is the trigger part of the hypothalamus, adrenal, pituitary, reaction to stress. A lot of components here that keep your body in shutdown. You want it to optimize. You want it to come back into strength. There we go. Beautiful. A lot of deep relaxation. And finally coming back into the parasympathetic nervous system. There we go. We needed to go a little side trip into the HPA axis. Beautiful. Now coming into the vagus nerve and doing the same thing. Optimizing wherever it most needs for our intention. We want to completely heal the root cause, the physical cause, all aspects of functional freeze in the body. Structures in the vagus nerve. Vagus nerve in the body acts as a distribution, takes messages from the brain, distributes to all sorts of organs. It's literally a pathway to your heart, to your liver, to kidneys, of course, to your pelvis and legs. As both receiving information, is feeling unsafe, unprotected, and distributing the messages. Okay, heart, start beating faster. Okay, pupils start to constrict. Okay, skin, start to itch. You know, it's like a distribution highway. So we're optimizing the vagus nerve wherever it's most needed in response to functional freeze, for optimal healing, to return vitality, strength, empowerment, engagement. Beautiful. And with that framework we created earlier, we're really affecting the energy system on all levels. Grounding and centering it with the core of the earth, creating that universal grounding framework, activating it with light codes, clearing the functional freeze, setting an intention. Okay. One of the last things we can do is the most powerful. So we recognize that there are parallel universes, our past, present, future, all exist right now. So we're going to pull in a future self that already did all this. It's done the breath work, the mindfulness meditation. It's done the inquiry, has done the physical healing, the somatic work, and gained all its wisdom and benefit. That future self already exists. So we're going to bring it in as an overlay, as a blueprint for your system to march to, right? To model itself on. Sometimes it's really immediate and effective. Other times the system's like, hey, I got to integrate this a little bit, and everything in between. What comes in is what I called evolutionary blueprint. This evolutionary blueprint is the you that has done just that. Acts as a model, framework. So you tell me, what does it feel like to be free of functional freeze? More alive, right? You have more strength, vitality. Wow, there's a return sense of clarity. There's focus there. Well, obviously motivation. Everything we asked for in the beginning. I don't know what your intention was. You're asked to set an intention before you listen to this and really know what your body is like, what your state is like. This gone. Yeah, there's a lightness. There's a sense of love, of joy, of nurturing, all these qualities. They're accessible now. Does that mean they're immediate? No, but not necessarily. Maybe there's some habits to erase. Maybe there's some wisdom that needs to come in. Maybe there's some emotions that still need to be faced. I don't know. Every path is different, but the model exists now. The framework exists now. A view free and clear, a functional phrase, live. empowered, clear, strong, healthy, fearless. I can see a little bit of fearlessness in there too. So we're going to support that with what I call awakening structures. Awakening structures realize that the part of you in functional freeze was asleep. These awakening structures again follow the dimensionality of this blueprint, and they just are little Pac-Man going wonka wonka wonka. Remember, remember, remember. Throughout your cells, throughout your system, throughout your dimensionality, your overall system, and all of consciousness. Remember, you are really a complex set of vibrational, subtle vibrational, physical, dimensional, universal. And adding diamond light crystals. These are high frequency crystals that are going to go into all your organs and systems as preparation, as support to what we just did. They go just wherever they're most needed. Oh yeah, so a lot of them are going to your nervous system, the vagus nerve, like little soldiers with marching orders. Psst. We changed that, remember? Into the brain, brain synapses, kidneys, adrenals, vagus nerve, yep, wherever it's needed. Wonderful. And now the really important step of integration. Because remember, we started out with this pattern that says functional freeze exists, it's very real, it's hidden, it's got depth, it's got roots. We're shifting and changing all that. So integration is so important to dimensional shift, dimensional movements. We're going to integrate in all space, all time, all realities, all dimensions, all realms, all fields, interdimensionally, catching up, physicalizing. Beautiful. Your system starting to come online now. Integrating the brain, brain consciousness, the different parts of the brain that we are targeting. HPA axis, the pituitary, the amygdala, executive function in the prefrontal cortex, the brainstem, and the top parts, the vagus nerve. Now integrating the nervous system, parasympathetic, autonomic. Oof. I knew this was going to be just as important as everything else we did. Integrating the aspect of the vagus nerve that taking it off of hypervigilant. And integrating the chakras, the energy body, especially the physical body, vibrational body. It's just a deep relaxation coming into your system. Functional freeze is actually a normal part of the body's response system to, again, stress and burnout. Our whole culture supports it in so many different ways. It's asking you to stop, quiet down, take a look what is and isn't working. So that's why I say this may be instantaneous or this may require some lifestyle changes. Maybe asking you to become more still, be in nature more, practice breath work, take more walks, exercise. Really look at what your eyes and ears are taking in as far as entertainment. Stepping away from any of that overstimulating violence. Just letting it rest for a little bit. I know a lot of people right now are getting that message, rest. It's time for rest right now. Integrating the organs, especially the kidneys. Integrating the cellular function, cellular consciousness. Beautiful. Integrating the biochemistry. integrating the genetics. Wow, the genetic work we did today really was impactful. Putting special structures to continue this integration for those of you who need deeper genetic work. Integrating the intelligence system, the life field, and the overall luminous egg, which is your dimensional scaffolding framework. Interesting, integrating the lymphatic system. It just took a minute. And now the whole overall body, the way the parasympathetic system works to relax the sympathetic nervous system, responsible for managing stress, the vagus nerve as a distribution, the cells as the um, uh, chemical reactions to the lymphatic system, and the um, uh, endocrine system. Thank you. And so we're just integrating how they all work together. There we go. Beautiful. Throwing in the mental body, the emotional body, psychological body. Integrating the stress response. There we go. That's a networked way the body has habituated. Becoming overly active. We're saying, psst, you don't have to be in high alert or shut down or any of the various symptoms. Beautiful. Now integrating the whole overall system in all of consciousness. Bring in some Devi therapy to work with that psychological aspect, that mental aspect, that emotional aspect, because maybe there's some clarity, there's some insight that you need to adjust your thoughts, your reactions, the way you phrase things, the way you organize your lifestyle or make choices. Beautiful. Okay. Now we're going to end with some love. Divine love, the universal language between humans, the planet, cosmos. To amplify, strengthen every single part of the shifts and movements, and to really reinforce the coherence of that freedom. We brought in the vitality, the universal recognition of strength, clarity. It's your birthright. So just notice in the next few days what's changed. Notice what stayed the same. Maybe that needs more attention or intention. If you repeat the intention that you were asked in the very beginning several times a day, just bring your focus and awareness with the feeling of this, right? This freedom, this beauty, this self-nurturing, this confidence, this empowerment, this vitality. You said, I'm healed. My functional freeze is healed. Every aspect at the root level. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This will deepen. Why? Because it's teaching you your strength, your empowerment. This is just laying the groundwork. The homework is for you to recognize that you are the source. Through your feeling, through your vocalization of the intention to yourself, to the universe. You can do it in meditation, you can do it in prayer, you can do it when you're walking outside. But circle back around to this, because this isn't just sitting back and say, Source, please serve me. Source says, I am you. Now you are me. And together we need to be an active participant in this healing. So it's interactive. It's asking you to recognize your strength, your conscious self that follows your own intention. I am healed of this. I am free. I'm strong. I'm full of love. I'm full of light. But you need to point at these things, especially as they arise. If you have symptoms of this, if any of this apathy or fog or lack of motivation arises, set your intention. I'll put a link to what's called an energy booster. It's a 22-minute to do just that. You got 22 minutes a day to defeat this. If this is a big problem for you, of course you do. So that's the secret sauce to this particular energy intention. Asks you to activate, find your own internal strength, divinity, power, and be that. Be the change. So bringing in gratitude for all the help we received here today. Gratitude to Source for the wisdom, for the movement, for the shifts, for the power, for the cosmic alchemy that exists when we go into these different places. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for your time and intention. May it continue to blossom. And we said a prayer with a Sanskrit mantra that means, may we be led from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May we be conduits of peace and freedom, and may everyone be a receptacle for this peace and freedom in the world. Om Asatoma Sakamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Hum Tramgamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Guryo Namaha. Hari Om. Peace, peace, peace. Again, bringing up gratitude and love. Taking a deep breath, lifting you up and out of this space of grace. It is done. It is complete. And so it is, so it is, so it is. Till next time, be blessed.